Okay, you guys, we got punitive. We're going to go live with the punitives. I'm starting a little early. Everybody ready? Hello.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
In the 12th Judicial Circuit in and for Sarasota County, Florida, case number 2018 CA 005321NC. Jack Kowalski individually, Jack Kowalski as parent and next friend of MK, a minor, and Jack Kowalski as personal representative of the estate of Beata Kowalski.
We are live with the punitive damages verdict. The jury just came back. For those of you just joining.
Punitive damages verdict form. We, the jury, return the following verdict in regard to punitive damages. Claim 1A, false imprisonment between October 7th and October 13th, 2016, Maya Kowalski. 1. What is the total amount of punitive damages, if any, which you find, by the greater weight of the evidence, should be assessed against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital for the false imprisonment of Maya Kowalski occurring between October 7th and October 13th, 2016? $15 million. 2. Do you find by clear and convincing evidence that at the time of the false imprisonment of Maya Kowalski between October 7th and October 13th, 2016, did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital have a specific intent to harm Maya Kowalski, and did the conduct of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in fact harm Maya Kowalski? Yes.
Wow. $15 million in punitive damage on the punitive damages on the first count of false imprisonment.
Claim 1B, false imprisonment between October 18th and October 20th, 2016, Maya Kowalski. 4. What is the total amount of punitive damages, if any, which you find by the greater weight of the evidence should be assessed against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital for the false imprisonment of Maya Kowalski occurring between October 18th and October 20th, 2016? $10 million. 5. Do you find by clear and convincing evidence that at the time of the false imprisonment of Maya Kowalski between October 18th and October 20th, 2016, did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital have a specific intent to harm Maya Kowalski, and did the conduct of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in fact harm Maya Kowalski? Yes. Claim 1C and Claim 2, false imprisonment and battery, January 6, 2017, Maya Kowalski. 7. What is the total amount of punitive damages, if any, which you find by the greater weight of the evidence should be assessed against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital for the false imprisonment and battery of Maya Kowalski occurring on January 6, 2017? $25 million.
Wow.
8. Do you find by clear and convincing evidence that at the time of the false imprisonment and battery of Maya Kowalski occurring on January 6, 2017, did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital have a specific intent to harm Maya Kowalski, and did the conduct of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in fact harm Maya Kowalski? Yes. So say we all this 9th day of November 2023, 4 persons.
May I have the verdict form back, please?
Uh,
Do the attorneys wish to examine the verdict form?
in case you're just joining, we just listened to the punitive damages verdict read, and it's a total of $50 million in punitive damages that the jury just awarded, and now they get to go home. Although they are all dressed to the nines today, I heard. So they're probably going to want to stop and talk to media. This is a huge win for all of you CRPS warriors, parents
Do the
everywhere.
attorneys wish to have this jury pulled? Yes, sir. Madam Clerk, please pull the jury.
Juror 93, is this your verdict? Yes, it is. Juror 97, is this your verdict? Yes, it is. Juror 98, is this your verdict? Yes, it is. Juror 19, is this your verdict? Yes, it is. Juror 17, is this your verdict?
Yes.
And juror number 1, is this your verdict?
Yes, it is.
Madam Clerk, here's the verdict form. Let's process it and have it become publicly available. Plaintiff's defense, are there any other issues that we need to address with this jury, or may they be discharged?
They may.
They may. Okay. Members of the jury, in a moment, I'm going to give you the official discharge instruction, but let me just take a couple of moments. First, I really appreciate your time and attention over the last 9.5 weeks. I do have a certificate for each of you. I'm going to hand it to Deputy Coley, who will hand it out. And we've given the jury, okay, you have the jury notes? Okay, they have the jury notes. Okay, so if you need to give them to your employers, they'll give you those juror notes. The instruction to not talk about this case will be over. So you will be free to talk about this case or not talk about this case. It's going to be up to each of you whether you wish to preserve your privacy. The lawyers and their agents will not be able to approach you. You, of course, may approach the attorneys, but again, that's going to be up to each of you. At this point in time, I'm going to give you the official discharge instruction. When that occurs, I'm going to have the court deputies escort you out of the building and take you to your cars. So thank you very much for being with us. Members of the jury, on behalf of the parties, the attorneys, and the people of the state of Florida, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years the jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. The attorneys and their representatives are not permitted to initiate any communication with you about the trial. However, you may speak to the attorneys or anyone else about the trial. You also have the right to refuse to speak with anyone. A request may come from those who are simply curious or from those who might seek to find fault with you. And it will be up to each of you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. And at this point, this is the last time I'm going to say this. You do not have to not talk about this case. You may talk about this case or not talk about this case. You may watch or not watch any news accounts that you may, and you may approach or not approach anyone. So at this point in time, I am discharging you with the court's thanks and the people of the state of Florida for your time and attention. And if you can follow the court deputies, Lieutenant, if I can see you just a second.
All rise. Jurors exited.
For those of you who are just joining, I jumped on a few minutes early because the jury came back with the punitive damages verdict, which is what we just saw together live. And they came back with a total of $50 million in punitive damages for the Kowalski family. This is a huge win for not only CRPS sufferers out there, but for every sufferer of a chronic pain disease that nobody understands, for everyone
Are
who's
there
ever
any
been
issues that
gaslit
we need to address
medically.
tonight? Okay. At this point in time, we will be in recess. Thank you all for your time and attention. Take care now.
And that, my friends, is what justice looks like. That is why we do what we do in the courtroom. For people who can't fight for themselves. I didn't think I was going to get so emotional about this, but I didn't know it was going to go live while I was on. And I had a whole different show planned, but I am so happy that you're here with me for this, because this is for you. This is for you guys. You are the warriors. So many of you have carried this disease around with you for 50 years. I got an email. I don't know if she's here tonight, and I want to read this to you guys, because really it's for Maya. So if she does watch YouTube, maybe she'll catch the beginning of this, and maybe she'll see it. She won't have to fast forward through half the show to see it. And it's a viewer of mine named Mel, and I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman. And I don't think that he or she will mind that I'm going to share this with you. But the subject of the email from yesterday was, "Let's tell Maya thank you." And here she wrote to me, "Hi, Melanie. Thank you for the time you have taken to cover the Maya trial. I have had CRPS for almost 50 years, and I would love to ask a favor. Would you read the following message or something similar to Maya at the end of the trial? I am very concerned about her mental state and what might happen in the near future. I will forever be grateful for Maya and her family, because this has shined a light on my disease that I've wanted for a long time. The trial has been hard to watch, but I'm glad I did. Thank you, Mel." And then she writes this for me to read to Maya on behalf of all of you. "Dear Maya, I know that you're relieved that the trial is over. I hope that you can have peace in knowing that you did everything you could to get justice. Now it is time to begin living. You are such a beautiful and intelligent young woman. You have a world of choices before you, and I pray that you will continue having the courage to move forward. You are loved and prayed for daily by your fellow CRPS warriors around the world. We owe you and your family a debt of gratitude for having the courage to bring this lawsuit and not just settle. You have shined a light on our disease and brought awareness that we have dreamed of for a long time. As you know, CRPS warriors are the strongest people, not because we wanted to be, but because our disease has forced us to be strong. We withstand the disbelief by doctors, nurses, friends, and even family. We withstand the excruciating pain 24/7. It has taught us the things that really matter in life, where those without pain focus on the little things. Thank you for your courage, Maya, and keep fighting." And that is beautiful. Thank you, Natasha. I agree too. Vicky, I had never heard of CRPS until I caught one of your shows, Melanie. What you have done for the CRPS community is immeasurable. Oh, no, it's not me. It's you guys. It's you guys. You guys came, you watched, and you spoke up, and they were listening. They were listening. You know who was watching YouTube every night, reading the chats and all of these streams? The defense firm. Not just the defense firm, but a lot of people were. So you guys, I I give you guys, I got a mic in the way. I can't really clap for you, but I give you a round of applause, because you struggle with this every single day. Like Mel wrote in her letter, for 50 years, every single day, in pain, 24/7. And this was emotionally exhausting for so many of us. And I want to thank also Lat Cali girl, who sent me an email when I was deciding whether or not I was going to go live, because so many people were out there watching other shows. And I'm like, all right, what am I going to talk about? And she said to me, she's like, will you please get on there? I can't take this other coverage anymore, please. And I mean, I know my audience is 92% women. I know, I see you. Thank you. That was amazing that we got to watch that together. Okay, so $50 million in punitive damages. You know, people are saying it's going to be appealed. Yeah, it's going to be appealed. But you know what? Let's enjoy the win. Let's enjoy the win for a minute. I got my calculator out on the verdict sheet earlier, and I was just using the calculator on my phone. It's not like the old days where I had a big old calculator on my desk with those big buttons, which I loved. But my calculations on the compensatory damages were over $211 million. And I wanted to just take a look at the verdict sheet with you. And I mean, oh man, look where I did the freeze frame on this. Look at the, hold on one second. Just coincidentally, this is where it stopped. I mean, look how happy she is. That is a beautiful thing to see. After we have seen her day in, day out in court, just looking so wrung out and worn out, and how they got those photos of her at homecoming from some anonymous sources, and just the whole thing. This has been a roller coaster for so many of us, and I am so happy that we are here today and that this is the result. And you guys are incredible. You're incredible. What an amazing thing. So happy. Yes. And let's not forget that this is about Beata. But I think she's smiling up there right now. I do. Oh my goodness. All right, Callie Dime. Let me pull up my piece of paper. Hold on. Hold on. I had 211,451,174. Look. Same number. Yay. We have good math. Our math was good. Yes. Thank you. All right, good. I feel validated. I was like, am I forgetting some of these numbers? Because look at my chicken scratch. I had all these chicken scratchy numbers, and then I went through them and I checked them off as I added them up. And again, not just a victory for the CRPS warriors and for chronic pain sufferers, but for parents everywhere. Because, you know, like Shapiro was saying in his closing about, you know, this is sending a chilling effect through, you know, all the mandatory reporters. If you come back against us with a big money verdict, this is going to have a chilling effect on mandatory reporting. Maybe, in my opinion, people like Sally Smith ought to think twice before they pick up that phone. It's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. When I was rewatching some of the testimony about how they were talking about putting Maya in foster care while she was in the hospital, while Beata was alive, and I'm thinking, imagine if your child is being held hostage in the hospital because of medical treatment that you were providing for your daughter that was prescribed by medical doctors, and the hospital you went to didn't like that, and so they went after you as the parent, strip you of your parental rights, don't let you have any contact with your daughter for 3 months, and then start talking about putting your daughter in foster care? It's frightening, but it's real. And now everybody knows it. And now maybe things will change, because it takes something like this to make change. Public awareness. When I first started covering this trial, there were not a lot of people that wanted to hear about it. You know, what's always more interesting? Serial killers, murders, people being, you know, dismembered. Not real human stories like this. And I hope that changes. Hope a lot of things change because of this. Yeah. Damn, a brat 76. I would lose it if that happened to me. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. You know, and they're talking about her being belligerent, and I think can pretty much guarantee that I would have been a lot more belligerent in the hospital than she was. I can pretty much guarantee that. Hi, Denise. Thank you for your empathetic coverage of Maya's long ordeal. I'm so grateful that you recognize so many of us with unseen but painful conditions. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who bought the t-shirts and all of the profits from the merch that I made. The Team Maya shirts are going to go to CRPS research. And it's not over. We can still support. I don't know if I tagged them in the stream. I will pull them up in a second. Hi, Irene. Irene says, I'm a mandated reporter and always pause anytime I think of reporting abuse. And I would hope that most would, I really would. I mean, you must be torn between that, that desire to really help a child who's really in trouble and, making an allegation that you may or may not have 100% proof of. Yeah, Betty, such a terrible experience for Maya and her family. Hi, Sarah. People still siding with Jay Hodge is frightening and mind-boggling. I don't know, because I don't go on those streams, and I turn the chats off if I do, because I can't bear to see it. I can't bear to see it. I can't understand it. I spent 25 years of my legal career helping people like this rebuild their lives, fighting for the victims and survivors of, the Catholic Church scandal. And I am Catholic, so come for me in the comments. But that was real too. All kinds of victims and survivors of things who didn't have a voice. And that was my career. So I don't understand the other side of it. I really don't. Oh, you're very welcome, Teresa. So what do you guys want to watch? I mean, we can take a look at the jury sheet, and just so I can give you like a little idea of what it looked like. I feel like this is such a win. Everybody just wants to breathe. Yeah, Matthew. A lot of people are going to think twice before going to the ER now too, or taking their kids there. Yes, Deb, I truly hope this helps them see they need to change things at that hospital. Yeah. I believe there are many great people there, but they are stomped by the few poor excuses for healthcare workers. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Nurse Corky. Stay strong, parents. Let's go to horrendous and can't believe private DCF exists and that commissions are involved for taking away people's kids. Yeah. Well, listen, they don't get paid unless they're needed, right? Follow the money. That's what I tell you guys about every single thing. You want to figure it out, follow the money. That's how you know who did it. Mud Swallow, they go after moms for med mal, but they don't say anything bad about the docs who prescribe. Well, they don't go after the moms for med mal. Hello, Tyler and Jada Griffin. Just found you. Notice your last name is Little. My dad and his family are Littles. Yeah, I think it's a pretty common name. But cool. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. We welcome you with open arms. My moderators are the best. They won't tolerate bullying. So if you want to be a bully, just don't. I mean, you could try. You could try, but it's not gonna fly here. It's the motto. Be nice or leave. Really, there's so much hatred and vitriol in the world. I'm just not going to tolerate it here. So this has been a safe place for people to watch the stream and be able to talk to each other without the fear of getting, excoriated in a chat of a YouTuber. I mean, that's insanity to me how that was happening. And I saw it and I watched it and it was horrific. Hi, Melissa. I'm so thankful to Maya for all the awareness she brought to CRPS. This means so much to all of us that suffer from it. Oh, you too, Melissa. Wow. So many. So many of you in the chat. I don't know who's here tonight. Susan Cornwall says, I cried through the entire verdict too. So happy they won. I wish I could have seen Sally Smith and Kathy Beatty's reactions to this verdict. Well, let me tell you something else. You know who was in the courtroom? Was trying to testify. They wanted her to testify, and she was excluded. Saisha Mercado. Do you know who Saisha Mercado is? Anybody know who Saisha Mercado is? Saisha Mercado is a woman who she was a finalist in American Idol, and she had her child taken away by Sally Smith. So there are a lot more cases to come, you guys. This is not a flash in the pan. She was ready. They had her to testify, and they wouldn't allow it. So, yeah. They put her infant son in foster care, and then she was pregnant. And while that child was in foster care, as soon as her newborn was born, they took that child away from her too. And these were all false allegations. In 2021, when they brought their 13-month-old son to JHatch, they were concerned that Saisha's breast milk was running dry and the boy was not accepting fluids. They thought they were going to bring him home right away, but it says, but several weeks later, they were ordered off the hospital campus by the St. Petersburg police, and their son was placed in foster care. 6 months later, and about 10 days after Saisha Mercado gave birth to her next daughter, police surrounded the couple's car and took her new daughter into protective custody. That case also involved Sally Smith. Let's hope this sends a message, you guys. We also saw Elena Kushnir testify in this trial. The same thing happened to her family. She was the Ukrainian, very beautiful blonde woman who came in to testify on a very limited purpose about how Sally Smith came into her child's room wearing a Johns Hopkins lab coat. And the same thing happened to her family. That lawsuit is still pending. Her child had a birth injury. Cord was wrapped around the baby's neck at birth, and the baby had some problems because of it. And I think in that case, Sally Smith had accused them of shaken baby syndrome. And they also went through a horrifying ordeal. And there's many more cases like that. I have a whole show planned. But since we're here and we're talking about it, and since Saisha Mercado was actually in the courthouse, ready to testify on the punitive damages phase, they learned nothing after 2016 is what this tells me. Because in 2016, when we read the dependency court order together that allowed Maya to go back to her father after Beata took her life, Hunter and Shapiro were in the courtroom for that hearing. They've been involved in this case in real time. You know who wasn't involved in this case in real time? Risk management. They were not involved in this case in real time. And we heard a lot about that. And we heard Dr. Napolitano testify that he didn't even hear about the Maya Kowalski case until April or May of 2023 when he read about it in USA Today. And he was on the risk management committee in 2016. So, nothing was done. You got the same lawyers in court representing this family in 2023 that have been witness to all of these other things that happened. The Kushnirs, they're defending that lawsuit. Greg Anderson is the plaintiff's attorney for that lawsuit for the Kushnirs. I'm sure Saisha Mercado has a lawsuit as well. Haven't retrieved the court file on that one yet, but she's been very vocal on social media for years. And nobody would listen until now. Now they're going to listen. Right, Callie Dime? Because if we add 50 million to the 211 million, we're up to 261 million and change. That jury wanted to send a message, and they did. And they sat there for 9 weeks. And after they came back with their $211 million verdict, they found out that because they wanted to award punitive damages, they had to go back in. And they had to scramble today to get all this testimony done on the punitive damages. And they just came back tonight. What time was that when I went on? About 7:25. So they came back tonight. Yeah, is that enough, Suzanne? I don't know. I think it's enough to send a message. Listen, I don't think it's going to be paid out, to be honest with you guys. This is just the way it works. They're going to file an appeal. They're going to say this number is not sustainable. You can't point to another case in Florida where this kind of money has been sustained in this kind of case. It happens every single time you get a big verdict. And it will probably settle, and I hope it does. I hope it settles for a number that the Kowalskis are happy with, and that they can move on, and they don't have to deal with years of appeals, and that they can collect, and that Maya can get out there and start changing lives, because she's 17 already, and look at her. She's a force. She is a force to be reckoned with. Yes, Tanika, there is a video when police took her baby. That's right. For Saisha Mercado, if you guys want to look into that. Is it on her TikTok or her Instagram or something? Yeah, she was filming it. I like Hallie Girl. When Elena testified, I understood why Sally Smith hates Mr. Anderson so much. Oh. Yep. Yes, Alyssa, that jury did absolutely amazing. They did. Hi, Victorine. A very clear message. Yep. Hi, Delia. I still think 200 million would have been a fair punitive. Yeah. I mean, that would have doubled the verdict to 400 million. But look, $261 million is a lot of money. And it's, people are going to take people are going to start paying attention to this worldwide now. I know a lot of you guys are from out of the country, and in a lot of other countries, they do not allow negligence lawsuits or malpractice lawsuits. It's just not a cause of action that you can bring under the laws of many, many countries. So when people come to and watch this in America, they're like, what the hell? You're allowed to sue for that? And, it doesn't happen in a lot of countries. A lot of countries don't even have jury trials. It's only bench trials. Hi, Caroline. Will they continue to spy on Maya until the appeal? I don't know. I don't think so, because it's not so much about her damages anymore. Like I said, they were probably surveilling her, and that's how they knew what time she got back from Halloween and all of that other nonsense. It's more about, can the number be sustained? I hope everyone just leaves her alone. I mean, I think I was going to show the original verdict, but I don't think we need to watch her crying. I mean, if you want to watch it, I suggest that you do, but I think everyone who's here has done enough crying today. And unless you really are dying to see it again, I don't think we need to watch it together. But it was heart-wrenching when they read that verdict earlier today. And yeah, it was crazy. I'm just going to pull up the verdict form for a minute, just so you can see what the jury had to go through and how many things they had to go through. Because it was very, very extensive. So to find out where I put it. Why does it disappear when I try and get it? Okay, so the court filed this verdict form very early this morning. Well, I mean, very soon after it was reached. So let me see. Should have a timestamp on it, but I don't see it. Okay, so here is the jury verdict form. We, the jury, return the following verdict. Oh, here it is. It was filed at 1:55 p.m. Right, so I guess they worked past lunch. What time did they read the verdict? I don't recall. This whole day is bleeding into a day where it feels like it's been 3 days. So claim 1 was the false imprisonment claim from October 7th to 13th. That's the period of time that she was in the hospital before the dependency hearing, where their parental rights were stripped and they were not allowed to leave, or they were told that if they tried to check out of the hospital, AMA, thank you, Courtney. They were told that if they tried to check out of the hospital, AMA, they'd be arrested and stopped by security, even though they had the right to leave. So they answered yes to that. And then they came back with a verdict for future medical expenses. And remember, that's why they wanted the read back of the economist testimony that we went over the other night of $2.496 million. And I didn't go back to look at the economist testimony again to see if they adopted her numbers, but I think perhaps they did. And then the pain and suffering award for that claim only was $3 million. And then the $67,200 award under that specified false imprisonment claim was for any medical expenses on behalf of Maya that were paid by Jack or owed by Jack up until in the past and up until she turns 18, and that was for $67,200. And then they were asked this question: under the circumstances of this case, state whether you find by clear and convincing evidence that punitive damages are warranted for the false imprisonment occurring between October 7th and October 13th. And they answered yes. And that's why they had to go back for phase 2 after this verdict was read and all the evidence was presented on the punitive damages claim. And if you're just joining, welcome. The next part of that same false imprisonment claim, but they're allowed to award additional money for this, was from the October 18th to October 20th of 2016 period. And that's the 48-hour period where she was put in that EEG room and she was surveilled by video. So they were asked whether Johns Hopkins falsely imprisoned Maya without legal authority under circumstances that were unreasonable and unwarranted between October 18th and October 20th of 2016. Their answer was yes. And then they moved on to future medical expenses based on just that one 48-hour period. They came up with $1.4 million. Her pain and suffering for that 48-hour period, they awarded $3 million. And then these are the past and up to age 18 medical expenses obtained by Jack for Maya. And that was $561,298. And I'm sure that they took that right out of the hospital bill. And then added maybe a little something on for until she turns 18. I think she's turning 18 soon, right? Next month? December? Does anybody know? And then in this claim, they also agreed that she's entitled to punitive damages. And just to rewind for 1 second, we just watched the punitive damages verdict. So they came back with on claim 1 for the time before the dependency court decision, October 7th to 13th, their award was $15 million in punitives. And then for this claim, for the 48-hour period where she was surveilled by video, they came back with an award of $10 million in punitive damages. And then this next false imprisonment claim was for the January 6th period when they were taking pictures of her before court. Future medical expenses for Maya, $188,000. Pain and suffering for Maya, $15 million. Jack's medical expenses on behalf of Maya, $325,000. And then they said yes to punitive damages, and they came back with $25 million. Or maybe the 25 million, because I don't have the verdict sheet for the other. All right, you know what? I think I'm wrong. I think for all the false imprisonment claims, it was 15 million. No, maybe I'm right. 25 million for the January 6th. Total of 50 million in punitive damages. So for claim 2 battery on January 6th, future medical treatment, this is the battery. This is the part where Kathy Beatty and Eddie bedside nurse held her down to take the pictures. That's the battery aspect of it, the unwanted touching. The other one was the false imprisonment on the same day. Future damages, future psychological treatment, $4 million. pain and suffering, $8 million. Jack's medical expenses on behalf of Maya, $559,000. And they also awarded punitive damages for that claim. Battery, as to the hugs, pats, kisses, and placing on the lap of Maya by Kathy Beatty, who you recall the hospital did admit was an employee of the hospital. They were only contesting whether or not Sally Smith was an agent of the hospital, but the jury found that she was. We'll get to that. Did Kathy Beatty commit one or more batteries on Maya Kowalski through hugging, patting, kissing, and placing Maya on her lap? The answer to that was yes. They moved on to damages. Future psychological treatment on behalf of Maya, they awarded $8 million based on Kathy Beatty's hugging, patting, kissing, and placing Maya on her lap. The total amount of pain and suffering for Maya for that specific incident or incidences, $11 million. And for past medical treatment paid by Jack on behalf of Maya, $1,000. So you can see that they really took their time answering their questions. They really did the math on this. Claim 3 is the medical malpractice claim or medical negligence. And they had to decide this question: was Dr. Sally Smith an apparent agent of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital at the time and place of any treatment she provided to Maya Kowalski? And they answered yes. And it says, if your answer to question 25 is yes, then Dr. Sally Smith is a healthcare provider for whom Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital is legally responsible. That's why they wanted to bring Saisha Mercado in on punitives, to show a callous disregard after this case, that they still let Sally Smith play her same old tricks. Was Dr. Sally Smith negligent in the medical care of Maya Kowalski? And was that negligence a legal cause of loss, injury, or damage to Maya Kowalski? They answered yes. And then this is important too. Excluding and not considering the conduct of Dr. Sally Smith, were one or more healthcare providers negligent in the medical care of Maya Kowalski at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital? And was their negligence a legal cause of loss, injury, or damage to Maya Kowalski? The answer is yes. So not only did they find Sally Smith to have committed malpractice, but other doctors who also worked at the hospital and nurses, they found to be liable. The New York Post has a headline, by the way, that said, and I had to even pull this up, it says, jurors in $220 million take care of Maya case find hospital guilty on all charges. This is why non-lawyers should not write headlines. It's not a criminal case. The hospital isn't guilty of anything. The hospital is negligent. The hospital is liable, but they're not guilty of anything. I couldn't even read the article. I had to turn it right off. Back to the verdict form. The Maya's loss of income for the medical malpractice on behalf of the hospital, they have calculated at $4.7 million. And that is for lost earnings, loss of earning capacity in the future, and all her future medical treatment and care, $4.7 million. Pain and suffering for the medical malpractice claims, $22 million. As far as the fraudulent billing claim from Mr. Kowalski, did All Children's Hospital fraudulently misrepresent a material matter in its invoices to Jack Kowalski or his insurers? The answer is yes. And you will recall we went through this a number of times. How could the hospital say she didn't have CRPS if all the treatment that they were billing for was for CRPS? Can't use it as a shield and a sword. Well, no, we got to take the parental rights away because she doesn't really have CRPS. They're just making the whole thing up. And then treat her for CRPS. Can't have it both ways. Did Jack Kowalski or his insurance company rely on their detriment? Rely to their detriment on the fraudulent misrepresentation you found in answer to question 30? Yes. What is the total amount of Jack Kowalski's damages for any deductibles or copays incurred as a result of Maya Kowalski's sheltering at Johns Hopkins or increases in the cost of insurance coverage in the past or in the future, including increased premiums, copays, and higher deductibles. They awarded $3 million. What is the total amount of Jack Kowalski's damages for the difficulty of finding insurance in the future? They awarded $2 million. Claim number 5. And this is where it could be a case of first impression. It could be new law. This claim is entitled Survivor Claim for Intentional Infliction of Emotional Distress as to the estate of Beata Kowalski. Did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, through the acts of its employees, engage in extreme and outrageous conduct, intending that conduct to cause or with reckless disregard of the high probability of causing severe emotional distress to Beata Kowalski prior to her death? They answered yes to this. And we talked about this a lot because their extreme and outrageous conduct, I don't know what the jury talked about in the jury room, and we may never know, but it may have something to do with the way that they were text messaging each other and calling Maya ketamine girl. And how after Beata's death, the doctors were texting to each other, oh, wow, my prediction came true. Oh, well, hopefully she can be, better now and learn to live a normal life, and she'll be much happier without that mother, and all kinds of craziness, and how we went through it. We don't have to go through it again. Let's try and take a deep breath and keep moving with this, put it behind us a little bit. But the jury got the message just like we did. What is the total amount of Beata Kowalski's damages for pain and suffering or mental anguish caused by the extreme emotional distress prior to her death on January 7th? The jury awarded $3 million. And that's huge, because they're awarding damages to Beata for her pain and suffering and mental anguish. $3 million. It is, I don't know if that claim would fly in New York, because based on prior case law, it could be a reach for a lot of reasons under the law, whether they owed her a duty, whether the unaliving was an intervening act. There's a lot of questions of law here, but the judge let it go to the jury, and it went to the jury, and the jury heard it, and they left a loud and clear message to the tune of $3 million. The next claim is wrongful death for intentional infliction of emotional distress causing death. Did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, through the acts of its employees, engage in extreme and outrageous conduct, intending that conduct to cause, or with reckless disregard of the high probability of causing, severe emotional distress to Beata Kowalski that was sufficient to be a legal cause of Beata Kowalski's death by suicide? Yes. If your answer is yes, go to question number 37. Did the conduct that you found in question 36 create in Beata Kowalski an uncontrollable impulse to die by suicide? The answer is yes. And remember, we listened to Anderson's closing, and he said that the uncontrollable impulse was the maternal instinct. And I know a lot of you agreed with that. And I think a lot of people who might have been on the fence about that, all of a sudden it clicked. It's like, oh yeah. The irresistible impulse is the maternal instinct. In her mind, did she feel that the only way that her daughter was going to be able to come home and not have to go to foster care is if she, Beata, the obstacle, was no longer there. And that's tragic. The jury awarded $653,676 for the total amount of any damages sustained by the estate for loss of net accumulations. This is the award for Jack Kowalski for the loss of services of Beata, which is also called in New York a loss of consortium, which is companionship, not having your wife until however many years you're expected to live under the mortality tables. They went through all of those calculations and funeral expenses, and they arrived at a verdict of $18 million for Jack. Next was the total amount of damages sustained by Jack for his companionship and protection and for his pain and suffering as a result of Beata's death, and they awarded him $50 million on that claim. Loss of services sustained by Maya for the loss of Beata, $2 million. The total amount of damages sustained by Maya for the loss of parental companionship, instruction, and guidance, and Maya Kowalski's pain and suffering as a result of Beata's death, $18 million. In New York, we call that loss of parental care and guidance, all the things that you miss out on by not having your mom. Then as to Kyle, the loss of his mom's support and services, they awarded $2 million. And to Kyle for the loss of parental companionship, instruction, and guidance, and Kyle's pain and suffering as a result of Beata's death, $18 million. For the intentional infliction of emotional distress claim on behalf of Maya Kowalski, did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, through the acts of its employees, engage in extreme and outrageous conduct, intending that conduct to cause or with reckless disregard of the high probability of causing severe emotional distress to Maya Kowalski? The answer was yes. What is the total amount of Maya Kowalski's damage for lost earnings in the past, loss of earning capacity in the future, and medical expenses incurred in the past and medical expenses to be incurred in the future? $3 million. And her pain and suffering for that intentional infliction of emotional distress claim, $7.5 million. So say we all. And then the jury was polled by both sides, and everyone agreed that it was their verdict. And as you can imagine, the emotions were high. Maya and her brother were crying. Jack was crying. It was audible. You could hear the gallery. I don't know if anybody here was in the courthouse today or in the courtroom. If you heard or saw whether the jury was crying, I'd be interested to know that, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Let's go to the chat for a sec, shall we? Hello, Raka Fraka. Thank you so much for your super chat. JH needs to change its name to Beata Kowalski Children's Hospital. What did you think of the video, the CEO and other person making the video defending the hospital? I was going to play a little bit of that, so let's take a look at that. Yeah, I did not watch the entire testimony of the other woman who testified, to be honest, on the punitive phase, because I was prepping for this show and I have a lot of kids and I've been running around all day, but I did see the clips that they tried to get in that they did wind up admitting, and I wanted to look at those. And also there's a sound clip of Kathy Beatty that they did not allow into evidence, but I want you guys to hear it if you haven't heard it. It was highly prejudicial and I could see why they didn't allow it in, but you need to hear it. Thank you for gifting a membership, Cynthia. That is so sweet of you. Ms. Donna Marie, congratulations on being a member for 1 month. We've only had memberships for 1 month. So if you're here, you're on the ground floor of something really exciting. This is a brand new channel, so welcome. Super happy for Maya and her family. So am I. And you and I were texting earlier when this came in. I was driving and I listening to it in the car, and I just was overcome. Just overcome. Thank you, Megan, so much for your super chat. Much love to all of you. What an emotional day. And look, it came up in orange, which is the color for CRPS awareness. Justice was served. A big statement was made. Now, Maya, sweet girl, go do big things and make your mama proud. You know it. You know she's proud, right? Hello, Paul Clank. Just think you can play yourself in the. Oh yeah, do you think I'll be in the movie? I don't know. Oh well, they're gonna be made a documentary, but who knows? Thanks, Paul, for your super chat. Hi, Margie. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you, Melanie, for covering this case with kindness and compassion. I could not have watched alone. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for being so kind to each other and so supportive of each other. And I see you in the comments. I see you. I see when people comment on how hard they're, how they're having a rough day and they're in a lot of pain that day, and how you each come in and you are cheerleaders for each other, and you're so compassionate and you're so empathetic. I love it. It is so wonderful. Oh, thank you, Katie, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Yes, yes, yes. Yay, smash that like button, everybody. Smash the like button. Hey, Mystery, I see you all over. I'm lurking in other chats just like you, and I see you on a lot of channels. I think you ought to nudge someone at JHatch to send those clips to Plaintiff. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what movie? Oh, he's just saying, because I'm also an actress. That's the joke. I guess he's saying that if there's a movie that I can play myself, as the podcaster covering the trial. But yeah, oh yes, the actor's strike is over as well. So that's another exciting thing. Beata was with all of us today. She absolutely was. Hi, Mother Oates. I pray that the punitive damages amount makes the hospital not try to appeal it. Leave this family alone. Let her be free. Hi, Chloe's mom. Can you please play Shapiro's opening and closing? I wanted to choke him. Are you talking about for the punitive portion? I'm gonna play. What I'm gonna play first is the they were having initially some arguments about what evidence they wanted to be able to show in this part of the case. And Hunter, our friend Hunter, got a little spanking. Did you guys see that? Did you see that? Because it was interesting. Let me see if I can just find it on here. All right, here's a little. Oh, thank you, Victorine. I appreciate you. Okay. Yeah, Ray. Yeah, Ray. I know. First, it was like unexpected that punitive verdict was going to come in, and it came in before I was scheduled to go live. And I'm just like, I'm going now because there were a lot of you already waiting anyway. And Scott was trying to distract people to send him over to somebody else's channel. But look, I like Recovery Addict a lot. I do. He shouts me out a lot. And I like him too. But somebody said it's like such a clique. It's like a boys club. Why don't you go on there? I said, oh, they didn't invite me. I don't know. They were funny though. Watching the four of them together was like watching a Monty Python skit. I thought it was anybody like, am I dating myself with the Monty Python references? Monty Python is hilarious. It's a compliment. All right, let's see if we can pull up the spanking of Hunter. You guys, thank you. Amy in Boston sent me that meme, and we're gonna do a meme of him the other day where he's just at the table, and you guys were captioning the meme, and it was is Burger King hiring? It was very funny.
To print these as okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need them. Okay, so I've received 2279H and J. What's?
All right, Your Honor. From there, we'd like to proceed with 2828 and 2829 on the same proviso that if we're not going to be required, there's not going to be a appellate issue about not having the 16 and 17, then we don't need 2826 or 27.
Sorry, Mr. Whitney, I apologize.
That's okay. 2828 is what's been called the audited financial statements for 2021. 2829 is what we've been told were the audited financial statements for 2022.
Yeah, my only objection, Your Honor, is when we took Mr. Heath's deposition yesterday, I asked him what documents are going to rely on. And he said, I'm only going to rely on the ACH Form 990 from 2021. He said, if I get an updated, the tax return, because their fiscal year is, I think, June to June, if I get the most recent one, I'll update my opinion on that, which is why I don't object to 2279J. But I do object to him putting in audited financials. That was the purpose of the deposition. He told me what he's going to rely on. And now I'm seeing they're going to rely on new documents. I haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, I gotta read. Well, yeah, but Benny Hill, that's hilarious. Anybody watch like a show called Faulty Towers? It was spelled Fawlty Towers, and it was like Sorry, I went backwards for a second.
The most recent tax returns.
It was on like the BBC channel, and it was a BBC TV show, and it was with John Cleese was in it, and it was about a hotel in, I guess, somewhere in the UK. It was a hilarious show, so funny. All right, let's see. All right, so here's where Whitney is trying to get these little video clips into evidence on the punitive portion.
As you may know, we are defending ourselves in a trial regarding care we provided to a patient in 2016. We anticipate that the jury will begin deliberating in the coming days. We don't really know how long they will deliberate, but you may hear the verdict before we're able to communicate with you directly. Please know that given the nature of this case, any decision will be complex and will take time for us to fully analyze. As a nurse, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've seen a lot in my career. And I want you to know that I have never been more confident of anything, more confident that the care we provided to this patient was exceptional, compassionate, lawful, and life-saving.
This case has attracted substantial attention in the media, and much of it has been wrong. What has been made clear in court is that our team of providers did something both heroic and yet for us commonplace.
Okay, I don't know what all that background noise is, but it's not me. The only thing I have here is my cat snoring over there. So whatever that background noise was that you heard was in that video. But admittedly, I did not catch like the background of that video. Was that from are they talking about this trial, or were they talking about another case? Well, let's see if the judge tells us. Let's see.
Litigation. This is, first of all, we've never seen this before. It's never been provided before. This is complete ambush.
Your client apparently did it. I mean,
I understand
Wait for it, because this is really good. Listen.
that, Judge, but sitting here, this is a comment on the defense of the case that is essentially trying to punish the defense for trying the case and defending the case. It's trying to make the defense look bad for defending the case and taking a position with respect to what they've done. They're commenting on what's going on in court, but it's taken completely out of context, and it should not be admitted at this point.
any response, Mr. Whitman?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a party admission by the current president of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital as to exactly what Mr. Anderson argued in his closing statement, which is they still don't get it. They still maintain their actions were heroic and life-saving, and the jury needs to see this at the punitive damages stage.
The court is going to
They were talking about this case. That was the president of Johns Hopkins in that clip. He said he was a nurse. Talking about this case? Wow, that was pretty dumb. I think he just said he excluded it, but wait till you find out. Wait till he tells us how he got it. Hold on, this is great.
exclude 2830. It is not something that occurred contemporaneously, and this is not something that the jury should see. What's next?
He's right about that.
Next, Your Honor, is what is there is 2832. We have several clips from town hall meetings conducted contemporaneous with the immediate jeopardy finding as discussed in this case.
Let's put that up. How long is this one?
I'll have to rely on Mr. Reyes.
1 minute 14, I think.
Yeah.
No,
First clip is 37 seconds.
37 seconds for the first one.
So let's talk about the survey results. So we did have the 12 surveyors, as you all know, on site. You all, for those who were here, had the opportunity to experience that. There's a couple things I want you to understand. Is when they were here, you may have heard me say this before, they were surveying us on a federal level, which is around the conditions of participation for CMS, and they were also surveying us at a state level. So this was both a survey for federal regs and also state regs. So let's first of all talk about what immediate jeopardy means, because that's the word that I think has gotten everybody's attention. And just so you all know, this is not my first time to be in an organization where there has been an immediate.
Judge,
So that's 2832.
Yeah, we'll call that 2832.
Is there another clip that's following?
There's several.
Let's do them all and then we can have a discussion. What's the next number on?
We will call this 2832 Bravo.
I'm sorry, we'll keep going. Can you identify where on the exhibit list these were?
Are these things that were produced last week?
This wasn't. He came into a deposition with this. This was, as far as I know, this has never been produced to us, never been on the exhibit list. It was played during the deposition of one of our witnesses. We still don't know the source of it.
It's exactly like the homecoming photos of Maya Kowalski that were sent to them by an anonymous source, allegedly. This was provided to us by an anonymous source last week, just before the deposition.
Something happened. Hold on. I got so excited that I swiped my whole like keyboard here and I swiped myself right out of the stream. So hold on. We'll go back to it. He said that was sent to us by an anonymous source, just like those homecoming pictures were sent to them by an anonymous source. That was so great. I got to just rewind that so we can watch it again.
Things I want you to understand is when they were here, you may have heard me say this before, they were surveying us on a federal level, which is around the conditions of participation for CMS, and they were also surveying us at a state level. So this was both a survey for federal regs and also state regs. So let's first of all talk about what immediate jeopardy means, because that's the word that I think has gotten everybody's attention. And just so you all know, this is not my first time to be in an organization where there has been an immediate.
Congratulations.
Judge,
So that's 2832.
Yeah, we'll call that 2832.
Is there another clip that's following?
There's several.
Let's do them all and then we can have a discussion. What's the next number on?
We will call this 2832 Bravo.
I'm sorry, we'll keep going. Can you identify where on the exhibit list these were?
Are these things that were produced last week?
Look at his face.
This wasn't. He came into a deposition with this. This was, as far as I know, this has never been produced to us, never been on the exhibit list. It was played during the deposition of one of our witnesses. We still don't know the source of it.
It's exactly like the homecoming photos of Maya Kowalski that were sent to them by an anonymous source, allegedly. This was provided to us by an anonymous source last week, just before the deposition.
Okay, let's play the next one. 2832B as in Bravo.
The jeopardy that you can receive is something that's called around culpability. And that really is around the issue that leadership knew that there were quality and safety issues and did not elevate it in appropriate ways to the board. And so because of that, there were enough what's called conditions of participations noted that they felt it was important to give us an immediate jeopardy. So I wanted you all to understand that the immediate jeopardy really is about system process issues of the way that quality and safety issues are driven to the board so that the board can govern and act like a board on behalf of All Children's Hospital.
I'll also point out, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll just point out that Ms. Green testified that she recognized media site, and the source of this is Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital or the health system's internal media system.
What's the next clip, please?
Next would be Charlie, and Charlie would be 46 seconds.
This is a audio
It's an audio. It shouldn't be. No, I'm still on 2832. Just go to the third clip. You have it as 5003. It's 46 seconds.
And when did you first interact with
No.
Dr.
Okay. Let's go to 5006 is the next town hall. 5006.
Okay, so what number are we
We're
playing
still,
right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. We're still going to call this 2832, Charlie. I'm just referencing Mr. Reyes, our internal number. All right, should be 10 seconds.
Was about information flow, data collection, how you really look at quality and safety, and how that gets fed back up to the board. So that is what immediate jeopardy means. Those
And one more, Your Honor, 5007, Dan, which we will call for purposes of the court 2832 Delta.
is a cultural issue. I think that's what the one thing that has struck me the most is that while on site, the stories that I've heard and the fear of retaliation and retribution, if you speak up and speak out, and people have real stories that they've shared with me, and I have that.
Mr. Hunter.
Three things, Judge. First of all, it was referenced during Ms. Green's deposition, and I'll reference it here. That voice that you're hearing is sped up. It's not his true speaking voice. And it's not particularly complimentary to him.
The first time I listened to this, I said, did he say that his voice was fed up? And that's not his speaking voice? No, it's actually sped up. He said it's sped up, and it's not his real speaking voice, and it's not very complimentary to him. So therefore I object, Your Honor. Not only because it's going to completely destroy my case, but because it's unflattering to him.
Number two, if they're going to play this, if you're going to let this in, I want to see the whole thing. And we have never been provided that. Number three, number three, we have not previously been provided this. And we'd like to at least have the opportunity to look at the whole thing, because clips are being cut out of this thing out of context. And we don't know what the whole thing is. Okay. There are segments in this thing that were played the other night and that we have discussed internally, that in which Mr. Sowers confronted some people and actually apologized for some of the conditions leading up to the immediate jeopardy. But finally, the immediate jeopardy is, with all due respect to Your Honor and prior rulings, that is irrelevant to this case. Your Honor's laughing. But
I'm saying, because I just listened to the clips and there was nothing about the Heart Institute, which is what you were telling me in open court all of this was about.
Well, Your Honor, and
I'm just saying, Mr. Hunter, it seems what you're saying and what I'm hearing do not match.
And what I was also saying, Your Honor, was that
Oh my goodness, he's so red in the face. Doesn't he normally wear glasses? Did he just like screw the glasses today? He's like, forget it. I don't even care whether I can see or not. I don't need my glasses anymore. I don't know if they're readers, but I gotta let the judge say that one more time, because that would, like, I couldn't have scripted that really any better. That was fantastic. You know, they're doing what I'm doing. They're just making it up as they go along. I don't have a script. They just, in the moment. It's just perfect. You can't script it any better than what he just said, the judge. And yes, Kimmy. This woman right here. I can't see the cursor on the screen, but where's the jazz hands today, honey?
immediate jeopardy. But finally, the immediate jeopardy is, with all due respect to Your Honor and prior rulings, that is irrelevant to this case. Your Honor's laughing. But
I'm saying, because I just listened to the clips and there was nothing about the Heart Institute, which is what you were telling me in open court all of this was about.
Well, Your Honor, and
I'm just saying, Mr. Hunter, it seems what you're saying and what I'm hearing do not match.
And what I was also saying, Your Honor, was that you're only hearing seconds-long clips. You're not hearing the whole thing. You're not hearing the entire matter. And it doesn't sound like you're prepared to listen to the whole matter.
But time out, because that's a very serious statement you just made. Do you really think I am not making balls and strike calls? I've just eliminated a couple of items from their exhibits, and I'm listening to your statement. So I just want to make sure, are you saying that I am closed-minded in this case?
Judge, I'm suggesting that on this particular issue, you have indicated a predilection regarding the Heart Institute issue that I don't think that I'm able to get past. And that's my problem with it. And on these particular clips, what you're also seeing once again, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but you've just listened. This is a town hall meeting that went on for some period of time. I don't know how long it was. They've got a whole clip of it. Okay. A whole clip of it I haven't seen. And frankly, don't to this moment know the entire source of. But
we haven't seen Hunter. We haven't seen those reports, right? Those immediate. Isn't there some reports that he never turned over? We haven't seen those. There's a very fine line between zealous representation and complete disrespect for a judge. Like, you can represent your client zealously without, what he did was very close to the line. And you know why you notice how he said, "Oh, judge, you're laughing up there." You know why he said that? Because now it's on the record. Because the court reporter is writing down every word. If the judge just laughs and nobody says anything about it, the court reporter doesn't write in parentheses, "Judge laughs," like she's writing a script. He made sure to get that on the record for a reason. And the judge knew it too. And that was bold.
you're reacting and visibly reacting
Oh, he
to
said it again.
clips from that thing that are seconds long.
You're visibly reacting, Judge. Because now when I go up on appeal, it's all on the record because I said so. I said it. I said that you're visibly reacting because we're not going to have any video that we can roll back on this in the appellate court, but we're going to have a transcript. Walking the line, Hunter. You're walking the line.
You're not hearing the whole story. And that's my problem with it, Judge.
Mr. Whitney, do you have the full clip?
No, Your Honor, we have portions of the town hall meetings. They were sent to us in discrete files. There are approximately 9 or 10 of them. As I said to notice, Ms. Green testified she recognized the media system these were being played from on Friday evening. And we had a busy weekend through no fault of our own.
Wait, hold on. Back up to the beginning of Hunter's response on the lorry behind him. How far back is it? Is it like right around here?
Reference it here. That voice that you're hearing is sped up. It's not his true speaking voice. And it's not particularly complimentary to him. Number two, if they're going to play this, if you're going to let this in, I want to see the whole thing. And we have never been provided that. Number three, number three, we have not previously been provided this. And we'd like to at least have the opportunity to look at the whole thing because clips are being cut out of this thing and I
think that's what you meant, yeah? So, a bit more forward. That was kind of interesting. The jazz hands woman is picking at her fingernails like, oh boy.
I understand that Ms. Lawrence is related to a past or former employee of ours. I don't know what this source of that
That's
or
a
not.
false out. I mean, that's true that she is related to a former employee, but that was
Okay. That was the other thing I wanted to point out, how he sort of like outs or makes a tepid suggestion that perhaps their new associate, Miss Lawrence, could be the source of the leak of these internal videos that look like they were taken with someone's iPhone because maybe she has a relative that works at the hospital. Listen to this. That bears repeating as well. That's worth repeating. Listen to this. Miss Lawrence, the new lawyer, right?
Tried to find this thing and we couldn't.
Never asked us to produce these clips. Yes, Your Honor, there's more to this, but they've never asked us to produce these clips.
Well, if the defense wants to see those additional clips, that's fine. And they should be able to see them.
Well, I would add to this, Your Honor, we tried to find this thing and we couldn't. And I don't, I mean, I understand that Ms. Lawrence is related to a past or former employee of ours. I don't know whether this is the source of that
That's
or
a
not.
false out. I mean, that's true that she is related to a former employee, but that was not the source of these, and that's a false
I
allegation.
just said I don't.
Did you see Jules' face? Did you see Jules behind there? Hold on. Look at Jules got right on camera. Okay.
To a past or former
It's right here.
employee of ours. I don't know whether this is the source of that
That's a
or not.
false out. I mean, that's true that she is related to a former employee, but that was not the source of these, and that's a false
I
allegation.
just said I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm just clearing it up. Was it from that person?
But the point is, there is a rule of completeness and context here that irrespective of whether I get the complete set of clips, which I appreciate, irrespective of whether I get those or not, these things are clips that got taken out of context and are being played as party admissions, even though the whole story and the whole statement isn't being played. And that's highly prejudicial. And it is also ambush, and it just shouldn't be taking place, Judge.
The court's
Ambush.
going to receive into evidence 2832, 2832 B as in Bravo, 2832 C as in Charlie, and 2832 D as in Delta. What's next, Mr. Whitney?
We have
I'm sorry, Judge. Am I to be provided the balance of these clips?
Yeah, didn't I just
we will
ask him to
send
do
them
that?
over immediately.
I didn't.
I apologize if I thought I had said that they need to see it.
And we're going to send them immediately. Your Honor.
Thank you.
The next is, Mr. Reyes, you have this as 5003 on your system. Your Honor, on the exhibit list here, it's 2758 Delta.
That was exactly what I was going to say, Gem Girl, and you beat me to it. I said, "Oh, ambush!" The way you kind of ambushed Maya with the homecoming pictures that you were sent anonymously by and then you gaslit her on the stand. Well, he didn't, but the other guy did. Shapiro gaslit her on the stand that when she accused him of going into her friend's social to get those pictures because she didn't post them of homecoming and Halloween, and he said, "Oh, I'm really sorry," in his whispery, what is that? What do they call that? ASMR? I don't even know what that is. When it's like supposed to be like, it's like the waterfall sounds I listen to at night to fall asleep. Like, "Oh, I'm really sorry if you felt like we, went into your friend's social media, but people actually emailed them to us. Several people emailed them to us anonymously. Not only are we gaslighting you with these pictures, but now we're going to gaslight you so you can wonder about who sent them to us and how many enemies you have and how many people out there don't want you to win this case." Yeah, that's what ambushing is. You're a big, bad hospital. You can handle a little ambushing.
And it is an audio clip of Ms. Beatty's sworn testimony.
Listen up.
And when did you first interact with Dr. Sally Smith?
Professionally,
Yes.
I've known Dr. Smith Dr. Smith for probably 15 years.
Okay, so you've known her for 15 years. Do you have a personal relationship with her?
No, just professionally, I see her here at the hospital, and I've worked other of these cases with her.
Okay. And approximately how many other abuse cases have you worked with her?
With her, probably here through the hospital, at least, I'm going to say 75 to 100, and in the last 15 years, probably close to 300 or 400.
That's Kathy Beatty speaking. That is Kathy Beatty speaking. I think it's part of her deposition or another deposition in another case, asking her how many times she's worked with Sally Smith. I'm going to take it back to one because you need to hear this again. And then you need to see Maya's face after she hears what we just heard. So let's take it back to 1. Maybe he'll announce again what it is, where it's from. She said she's been working with Sally Smith for 15 years.
Audio clip of Ms. Beatty's sworn testimony.
Her sworn testimony. Her deposition. One of her depositions, she gave several. Maya gave 5. I don't know how many Sally Beatty gave. 2, 3.
And when did you first interact with Dr. Sally Smith?
Professionally,
Yes.
I've known Dr. Smith or known Dr. Smith for probably 15 years.
Okay, so you've known her for 15 years. Do you have a personal relationship with her?
No, just professionally, I see her here at the hospital, and I've worked other of these cases with her.
Okay. And approximately how many other abuse cases have you worked with her?
With her, probably here to the hospital, at least, I'm going to say 75 to 100, and in the last 15 years, probably close to 300 or 400.
300 or 400 abuse cases with Sally Smith. That's how many abuse cases they see in that hospital, or that Sally Smith finds. Because like Dr. Cave said when he came on my show and we did a live about medical gaslighting, he said, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
She's an agent of the hospital, employee of the hospital. It's a sworn testimony. It's a statement against interest. It goes to, and they just check yes on a parent agency. It goes to the pattern and practice of this institution. And for the record, we have filed a memorandum. We were waiting to see what the jury did. We filed it at 2/27. It's a memorandum regarding the second stage of punitive damages and talks about the relevant, the determinations of relevance in the context of a stage 2 like we're at here.
Mr. Hunter, your statement on
Judge,
exhibit 2758D is in Delta.
Judge, A, it's from the dependency action. B, it's irrelevant. C, 227, a memo. I mean, I haven't seen it. And I doubt if the honor has.
I haven't seen it, but I understand the standard.
The jury checked the yes box with respect to Sally Smith. That issue's been settled. This issue is not relevant going forward on this, and this shouldn't be admitted.
Well, I agree. They checked yes on a parent agency with respect to medical malpractice. And so I don't see why the statements about, and clearly Sally Smith was wearing her hat as a medical director of the child protection team, presumably in these other cases. And so I don't see how that language is relevant for a punitive damage claim. So I'm going to exclude 2758D as in Delta.
Yeah, I don't think Maya had ever heard that either. And that was either testimony that she gave during the dependency hearing, because that's what Hunter said it was. And we know that Hunter was there. So it was either a deposition that she gave in that dependency court proceeding regarding Maya's case, or live testimony in court. I'm not sure. That may have been Deborah Salisbury, their attorney, questioning her in court. I don't know if anyone knows the answer. Let me know. I think it was the right decision to exclude it, but you're right. A lot of this stuff they're putting out there now, this case is on TV. They want everyone to know about it. Maya didn't know about it. So I'm going to assume Maya was not in court when this was said, but she looked just as shocked as the rest of us did to hear that. She testified that she had worked with Sally Smith for over 15 years, that she has worked on abuse cases with her, at least 75 to 100. I don't know if that was up until the day of this testimony in January, for the calendar year. And then she said at least in the last 15 years, she volunteered, I've worked on her with at least 300 or 400 cases of child abuse. It's a lot of cases. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Yeah, why aren't all parents entitled to due process? That's a great question.
Anything else?
One more, Your Honor. It's 2831 on the list here, and this would be 5004 on your system, Dan.
Around, you know, but they're different. It's the way they cut. Here you see the eyes, here you don't. So if they do it this way versus this way, I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just telling you what I see, and I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Okay, this is a clip of who is that detective whose testimony we watched? Detective Graham, right? So this is a clip of Detective Graham interrogating, I think, Saisha Mercado, who we spoke about, because she starts talking about petechial hemorrhaging that would be seen in a shaken baby case. So this doesn't have to do with Maya, but again, like Lacey Ann just said, I truly feel plaintiff played these for us as if we were not outraged enough already. And we went over Detective Graham's testimony, and she was live on the stand. Go back and watch that episode. If you haven't seen it, I put a new thumbnail up with her picture on it so you can find it. We did her testimony in the same day as we did the testimony of the woman, Linda, the woman with the traveling Mary, who came with the rosary beads and was so kind and wanted to visit Maya with the traveling Mary, and they wouldn't let her. So it was like two opposite ends of the spectrum witnesses that night that we did. Oh, what did I just do? What had happened? Hold on. Now we got to go back and find where we were. It's a good freeze frame.
And talks about the relevant, the determinations of relevance in the context of a stage 2 like we're at here.
Mr. Hunter, your statement on
Judge,
exhibit 2758D as in Delta.
Judge, A, it's from the dependency action. B, it's the jury checked the yes box with respect to Sally Smith.
With respect to medical malpractice, the medical director of the child protection team, presumably in these other cases. And so I don't see how a protection team about and
is not relevant going forward.
standard.
The jury checked the yes box with respect to Sally Smith. That issue's been settled. This issue is not relevant going forward on this, and this shouldn't be admitted.
Well, I agree. They checked yes on apparent agency with respect to medical malpractice. And so I don't see why the statements about, and clearly Sally Smith was wearing her hat as a medical director of the child protection team, presumably in these other for anything else?
One more, Your Honor. It's 2831 on the list here, and this would be 5004 on your system, Dan.
Around, you know, but they're different. It's the way they cut. Here you see the eyes, here you don't. So if they do it this way versus this way, I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just telling you what I see, and I understand what you're saying. I understand the position.
The situation we're in right now is because, you know, they think we abuse our child and take them away from us.
I understand that.
You know, it's not, and you know, we have to like prove our innocence to try to get him back. I mean, so, you know, here, it's not anything that, you know, can take lightly and easy.
No, and I understand. And I think all you can do is get different opinions. I mean, our radiologists have read it, we've had other people read it. Dr. Smith is our child protection person, Sally Smith. She's done that for years and years and years. She's the person who usually does all that. So
Yeah, she felt just for 5 minutes.
But-
she was the one that.
But the problem is, because there's so much controversy and nobody will probably agree on this because it's not cut and dried. And he didn't have retinal hemorrhages.
He didn't have anything else.
He didn't have, well, retinal hemorrhages are important because that's an important sign of shaking injury. So,
All right, wait. Is this talking about someone else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No.
No,
283, it's not.
no. I know what you're doing, and no, not coming in.
Anything else?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
And we can do the defense exhibits after they rest. Is that appropriate for the defense? Okay. Are we ready to bring in the jury?
Judge, I think there's a 40 witness list. It's being told.
Mr. Anderson, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
Okay. What do you guys want to watch? Do you want to watch the opening of Shapiro? I mean, the opening of Anderson and Shapiro? Do you want to watch just Shapiro? Tell me what you want to watch. I find it. I'm here for you. I know some of you guys have been watching this coverage all day, so tell me what you want to see. I don't think it's very long, either opening. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's what they say. Is what they say. Both. Okay, I have a both. I've been really nervous. I gotta be honest. I've been really nervous that somebody's gonna pitch a heart attack during this. I mean, you see these men they're turning bright red. I felt so bad for Mark Anderson, the witness on the stand, Dr. Anderson, when he was testifying that about the 3-page summary that they gave him when they didn't give him any of those reports that he was testifying about that they summarized for him, which had the absolute wrong findings. It was very sad. I was very worried about that. They have a defibrillator in there somewhere.
Phase. We're going to.
The amount of, got a little bit more to go. Thank you for the past 9 weeks. We've just got a little bit more to go. So this is where we determine the amount of money necessary to change corporate behavior and make sure this kind of stuff never happens again. And what our case is based around are those series of emails and memos you saw coming down from the highest up, the general counsel, over to risk management, and then directly down to Beatty and the folks kind of on the ground level, I guess, of the interaction with Maya that brought that verdict from you. So what we want to do here now is have you focus, and we can we'll bring them up as necessary. That series of memos when you're back there, you probably already remember them, when there were directions to do these things from the highest level of the company. And that's what we're talking about when you get a question on here about specific intent. It's not just like a general screw up of the company. It's about whether the company management, for its own reasons, decided on a course of action that they had to know. And in fact, in addressing it, address the fact that it was going to harm this little girl. You know, and this is somebody who is vulnerable by herself. She cannot get out of the way. She cannot escape. So it's about protecting the most vulnerable people in that hospital and in our society. So that's why we have punitive damages in this country. It is to force a change in corporate conduct. It is to overcome the inertia of we've been doing it this way for a long time. And we got hit for a malpractice award. Let's put it over here on this part of the balance sheet. And if we're lucky, maybe the president won't hear about it. You need to make an award to make sure there's absolutely no question. Everyone in that organization, all the way up to the top, hears about it. And we're going to bring here, I think Nick's going to take him, Stephen Heese, who's the president of Chris Craft Boats. They're right over here off 15th Street next to the airport.
Why does he keep name dropping Chris Craft Boats? It's like, excuse me while I bend over and pick up that name you just dropped. Because unless you're a boater, you don't know about Chris Craft Boats. Yeah, they're a boat manufacturer that's been around for a long time. And I know that because I live near the water and there's tons of marinas around here. And you see the Chris Craft Boats all around, and they live in Florida. But when Dr. Corcoran gave the whole "how do you know Greg Anderson" thing, this guy was involved in that somehow, I remember, right? Like, oh, we went out to dinner with your friend, who's my friend. He owns Chris Craft Boats and blah, blah, blah. Not really sure why he keeps talking about that. If he's coming in to testify for some other reason than having anything to do with boating. But let me know what you think.
Nation's oldest boat manufacturer, been around for 160 years. And Steve's not that old. But he's gonna come in and explain to you a little bit about managing risk and why these kind of verdicts are important. Number one. Number two, fantastically, he's also a certified public accountant and was a partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers. So he knows how to run these numbers. So what we did was we had them produce their tax returns and their financial statements, their audited financial statements. So we know how much money they were making, and we had Steve calculate their real net worth based on the furnitures, fixtures, equipment, income, the $555 million in gross income they made one year. He's going to list all those out for you. Please take notes on the specific numbers as they come in. And what we want to do here is assign a certain percentage out of net worth, or out of revenue, or both, and that is within your province. But to effectuate what you checked, yes, you believe punitive damages are warranted, it must be enough money to absolutely make sure that the highest levels of a very, very large company hear about this and are forced to ensure, to make the changes necessary to ensure that this never happens to another family. That's the mission, all right? So you'll get a verdict form, and it'll have several questions. This one, thank goodness, is only 9 pages long, so you won't have to spend reading another novel after writing a novel on each witness. And you'll go through it, and it'll have questions that ask you, based on Mr. Heath's testimony, on the various incidents that we're talking about. I don't know. It just is so insulting to call these things incidents. The damage, the injury to Maya and her family at different, same ones you saw before and checked yes to. And there are 2 types of questions. One is on clear and convincing evidence, how much per incident, just like you did before. And the second one is, and importantly, about specific intent. And that is where you signal whether you understood and agree that from that highest point there, they had made up their mind to initiate a policy that led to what you saw for 9 weeks. And so you can have any evidence you want. It's all back there. You can go back and check those emails. I made a big deal about them in my opening 9 weeks ago. If you need those, check them out to confirm what we're saying is correct. But you'll see there that risk management had directed this stuff, and that's why it's so important to get into that specific intent. Because again, this is all about sending a message. The first part of your case was about compensation. Now that's over. Now what we're doing is correcting behavior, right? We're correcting behavior. And again, I keep saying these things because you all have been around this planet long enough to know how companies act, how people act. And you know that to get people to change and to get companies to change takes a lot. And so that's why these numbers are going to be big, as bigger than what you've already awarded. But they're based on a different scale, and they're based on how much the company is worth. It's $1 billion company plus, and how much it makes per year. And these are the only ways that our country has come up to find a way to change corporate behavior. So at the end of it, I'll have a chance again to talk to you about it. I'm keeping this short. You've done a fantastic job so far. We only need you a little bit more to do the right thing here on behalf of now you're talking not only for the Kowalskis, but for everyone. Okay.
Now you're talking to everyone, not just the Kowalskis. That was good.
Mr. Shapiro.
All right. Trigger warning.
Good afternoon.
Trigger warning.
No surprise, obviously, my team's very disappointed by the verdict. But I do have a chance to talk to you one last time.
Okay, his ASMR voice is too like quiet for me to even hear, but he did say that his client, the hospital, is very disappointed by this verdict. So let's take him back to one and we'll let him say that again so we can, one more time for emphasis. A little louder for those in the back.
Good afternoon. No surprise, obviously, my team's very disappointed by the verdict. But I do have a chance to talk to you one last time about what they're asking you to do. I represent a nonprofit organization that's a children's hospital. You're going to hear testimony that every dollar that is awarded in this phase is a dollar that we don't have to spend on medical care in this community. You're going to learn a couple things. And it's simply this. The Kowalskis, so your verdict, have been, so the punitive damages, so you know, are only for, I think you signed the verdict form, and I know you spent a lot of time with it. They're for the false imprisonment and the batteries, right? They're not for the medical care. By my math, you've now awarded $57 million to the Kowalskis for the photographs in the false imprisonment, and total compensation for the Kowalskis is approaching $250 million. I would suggest to you that's fair compensation, more than fair compensation. In terms of what they're asking you to, so these punitive damages are to punish and deter, right? So a couple things to keep in mind. Obviously, I don't have a chance to just sit down with you and find out what drove this specific anger. But if it was Kathy Beatty, she no longer works at the hospital.
What drove this specific anger? I don't have a chance to sit down with you and figure out what drove your specific anger, why you're so angry at us. Why? Why are you so angry at us? Does that have anything to do with the actual evidence in this case? But don't worry, if it has to do with Kathy Beatty, she doesn't work at the hospital anymore. So you don't have to take any more of your anger out on us because we fired her or she quit or who knows.
So that's not something that you have to keep in mind. Do we need to Kathy Beatty, just sit down with you and find out what drove this specific anger. But if it was Kathy Beatty, she no longer works at the hospital. So that's not something that you have to keep in mind. Do we need to punish or deter for anything she did? If you found that there was something that she did that was improper, I would suggest to you that's not something that you need to send a message on. I also remind you, in terms of if this is corporate misconduct or something you heard from Mr. Corcoran that you thought All Children's was doing improperly, I would remind you, Mr. Corcoran.
It's Dr. Corcoran Shapiro. Dr. Corcoran. He worked really hard to be a doctor, and you should know that because all your clients are doctors too. The fact that he called him Mr. Corcoran I would punish him for that alone. I would. You know why? Because I'm petty like that. Mr. Corcoran. Wow. Wow. Dr. Corcoran, who came in every single time, who worked for free and who showed up, very handsome, very well dressed, hair perfectly coiffed, and is the husband of Christine's niece in the chat. Christine, who's a subscriber, her niece is married to Dr. Corcoran. And she told us that right after the first time that he testified when we did the Battle of the Experts episode. And she said, my niece is married to Dr. Corcoran. And I said in the comments, oh my, wow, like your niece is very lucky because the way he spoke about his wife and children in his first time on the stand, I think we've seen him on the stand, what, like 3 or 4 times already? Okay, that was really, really, really disrespectful. And
You did say that after whatever surveys came down that he was concerned about that All Children's did an excellent job of correcting them, and now there is an open culture of communication that can reach the highest levels. So we wouldn't need to see any type of message coming from this jury to correct any future conduct because all of that's been corrected.
Yeah.
But again, we would suggest to you that on the false imprisonment, just keep this in mind, and I don't want to re-argue the evidence because obviously you disagreed with me. But in terms of punishing and deterring, I thought I did what I could to let you know that the reason why All Children's back in that first week where you've awarded a lot of money for what they call the false imprisonment, just that 1 week before the abuse hotline led to the shelter, that All Children's did that because they were concerned for Maya. And I do fear that a verdict on punitive damages to punish and deter healthcare providers for speaking out when they see children that they think are susceptible to leaving and being put into a ketamine coma that they believe is dangerous, to being taken and put in intrathecal clonidine pumps that they think could lead to patient death, that sending a message for punitive damage is really going to create a silencing effect at my hospital, where it's going to chill people from ever speaking up again. So, we won't take too much more of your time, but I would just humbly suggest that since we are talking about policy, that there's been $250 million awarded to the Kowalskis, and punishing and deterring and trying to silence healthcare providers when they have a genuine concern is going to be tragic. I look forward to talking again once we're done this.
Trying to silence healthcare providers when they have a genuine concern. Is that really what he thinks this is about? That the jury is trying to silence healthcare providers? Wow. How about you come out and you say, you guys, we heard you. You made your point. We heard you. And we're really sorry for everything that happened to Maya. And we're taking steps to make sure that this never happens again to another child in our hospital. This is not what we want to be known for. Something like that. I don't know. Crazy? Would that be so crazy? I told my clients all the time that, and look, I know a lot of doctors, a lot of my best friends are doctors, and so many people are litigious and they sue because they didn't get an apology. And I know that every risk management department in every hospital will tell the doctor to never apologize because it's like admitting guilt. But there are some doctors who go to families after a loved one has passed and just say something like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry this happened. It doesn't have to be an admission of guilt. It just has to be some empathy. There would be so many less lawsuits if people just apologize. Neighbors suing neighbors over fences encroaching on the property. Hey, I'm really sorry. I'll have the fence moved. So they go into 10 years of litigation. Divorced couples who pay $100,000 fighting over a vase that neither one of them wants that's worth about $500. It happens. I see it every day. It's insane. It is insane. Yes. It's insane.
Please call your first witness.
We'd like to begin, Your Honor, if we could, by publishing several.
All right. So that's that. And then they got spanked again when the jury came back with the additional $50 million in punitive damages for a total that we calculated to be in the area of $261 million. Now, somebody was kind enough to tell me that they missed a 0 in the verdict form. So let me see if I can pull the verdict form back up again to see what implications. It is so Carolina. It's contumacious. It is contumacious and egregious, girl. That's what it is. Oh, that's more hooping and hollering? Oh, okay. All right, let's do it. All right, you gonna hang with me all night, girl? All right. Let me just, what did I do with that verdict form? Oh, here it is. Where did they miss a 0? In the 1.4 million, you say? Let me just go and check this for myself. I got the receipts right here. Don't worry. I got it. Let's see. Oh, I see what you're saying. I saw what you're saying. Okay. So it says, oops, let me pull it. I'll show you. I'll show you what the hubbub is about. Never fear. I am here. Let's get rid of this. Can't leave you with bad information. Hold on. Oh, see, there's a zero missing here, 1.4 million. You know what I would do to avoid like a hassle? If I was the plaintiff, I would just say, all right, you know what? We'll just stipulate to it being, we'll just stipulate. We'll say it's only 140,000. I mean, they were awarded, you know, $261 million. Instead of going back and making a whole thing about this and making it emotions and all this other stuff, but we'll just stipulate and we'll knock that down to 100 and what would it be if the I mean my argument would be that the commas are in the right place and they just forgot that zero, but you could stipulate to that. It could avoid an issue. I don't know if somebody else, one of your other law tubers, gave you any other differing information, but that's how I would handle it. It's going to be appealed anyway. No. Just for this one thing. See, they're making somebody on another channel was saying that this, because they forgot to add a zero, so it's not really 1.4 million, just for this one cause of action. The total, Marie, the entire total is 261 million. So instead of zetting the whole entire verdict because they forgot a zero here, I would stipulate to say, all right, for this portion only, I would stipulate to make it 140,000 instead of one, because really, why fight? It's like lunch money at that point, right? Oh, Natasha, I love you too. And I love your profile picture and I love the color of your hair. Thank you for your super chat. So I don't know. Tell me what you heard on another channel. That's the way I would handle that. Just like be nice about it and be like, okay, all right, cool. No worries. No worries. You know what? We'll knock that down. No reason to fight. But it is all going to appeals anyway. But I hope that it settles. I hope that it settles in between. Okay, so closings is where the action is happening, is what you're saying? That's what you're telling me? I'm going to believe you. All right, so there's the Chris Kraft guy. I guess it's important because he took Chris Kraft out of bankruptcy. I don't know, but okay, I'll go with that. Is it before or after they went over the forms? Let's see. I need a timestamp. All right, so that lady testifies, and then what? They take a break after her testimony? Maybe they meant 14 million, but the way the commas were placed, I thought it was supposed to be 1.4 million. I don't know, Faith. Let me know if you find anything. I'll pull it up. I'm getting good at all this, media stuff and all pulling up the media. I'm getting technologically better. I was a mess in the beginning. All right. Okay, I got it. So they have to go over this long verdict form again, but it's shorter than the other one. So, and then I think that's when.
Please write the amount on the
starts
line
disclosing,
immediately
yeah?
below and answer question 7. If you elect not to assess punitive damages against Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital for this claim, you should enter a 0 as the amount of damages, skip questions 8 and 9. The verdict form in that case would be complete. The foreperson must sign and date the verdict form on page 7. Question 8. Do you find by clear and convincing evidence that at the time of the false imprisonment and battery of Maya Kowalski occurring on January 6, 2017, did Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital have a specific intent to harm Maya Kowalski? And did the conduct of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, in fact, harm Maya Kowalski? You will answer that either yes or no, and the form tells you what to do. If your answer to question 8 is yes, You will skip question 9 and your verdict is complete. The foreperson must sign and date the verdict form. If your answer to question 8 is no at the team and able to reserve a few minutes of that time to proceed after the defense has finished its arguments. Who's going to make the argument on behalf of plaintiff? And are you seeking to reserve any time for rebuttal?
I'm going to take 4 minutes and then 1 minute.
Okay, there you go.
You're all tired and you get it. They don't. I thought they were going to get up here and explain how much money they had expended in order to correct the cultural problems and all of the internal issues that led to what happened here. But they didn't come up and tell you that. And I got a little upset, I have to tell you, when they started talking about all the lives they were going to save. And I kept thinking to myself, where were the efforts to save Beata? So let's cut to the chase here. This was a company in immediate jeopardy. You have access to all of the prior evidence. You don't just take what's in here. You can take all the evidence that you had before, which is why I was mentioning the email chains to indicate the direct line up from Jackie Crane, who's number 2 in this place, right up there next to the CEO, across to risk management and straight down to Kathy Beatty, who was the implementer of all that. That's about as specific of an intent as you can because it's directed to Maya. So now, how do you do it? Well, there's a number of questions again about specific intent as to each one of these. You all talk and consider the evidence there. One other thing as to specific intent, consider the aftermath and the entire ketamine girl exchanges. Just think about that when you're discussing.
This is not punitive damage argument. It's
overruled.
Now, there's $600,000.
I also object because it doesn't go to false.
600 million.
Hold on a second.
It doesn't go to false imprisonment or battery.
I will actually sustain that the claims for punitive damages are in battery and false imprisonment as to Maya Kowalski and not as to anything having to do with wrongful death as it relates to Beata Kowalski.
I understand. That was
So-
my
so-
intent with that one.
The jury is going to disregard the argument with respect to Beata Kowalski.
So here's what you've got: 600 million in cash and cash equivalents, and you've got 1.2 billion in the total assets. So my suggestion is this: there's 3 questions there, 3 different incidents. One's combined, and you can assign percentages. But I suggest again that you come up with a total number, and then go back and for your incidents, then based on what you think in terms of egregiousness, you assign a percentage.
I object to the lump sum calculation being divided by percentages and profit.
If I could get it out, explain it, Judge.
Can I sustain the objection?
Use them. So what you have is you can then take either 600 million or the 1.2 billion and decide what percentage of that's spread among the
Same
amount
objection,
you
Your
decide
Honor.
for each one. That's the
Sustained.
only way to do it.
Sustained.
I think you understand. Right. So the numbers are 600 million or 1.2 billion.
Same objection.
Out of that.
Also, I object because those numbers would bankrupt the hospital, which is what.
Speaking objection is not.
Okay, I agree with no speaking objections. I'm overruling the objection, and you can have your own argument when Mr. Anderson's complete. And it appears he's complete for now.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor. I know it's late, so we'll try to get to the point with y'all, I promise. Again, these damages are to punish and deter, and if your anger is at Kathy Beatty, she's not there. I think you heard from Mr. Corcoran, and I'll just be brief on this, that whatever the emergency problem was in 2019 was immediately corrected. It was complimentary of the hospital getting it on the right ship after that. That's undisputed testimony from Mr. Corcoran that the corrective action plans were made immediately. So there's nothing to punish and deter from what happened in 2016. I just want to talk to you about a couple of quick concepts. Some of these findings, in fact, most of them require a specific intent to harm. And I would just ask you to go back to some of the evidence you heard for 9 weeks. Was there really a specific intent to harm Maya when they were asking the family to stay at the hospital? I know you disagreed with it. I get it. Okay. You wouldn't have checked the box saying there was false imprisonment if you thought that all children's, for whatever conduct it was, wanted them to stay, put pressure on them to stay, whatever it was you found. And I don't have a chance to interview you individually. But I would just ask you to go back and put yourself, well, I would ask you to go back and consider the evidence of healthcare providers that were presented with a situation where they were told that Maya Kowalski was given an amount of ketamine that was 200 times what their protocol was, that they saw her in withdrawal, that Beata Kowalski was asking for intrathecal quantity pumps that Dr. Santana told you could be lethal, that they were asking for ketamine comas that are legal in the United States because of the Malala. It caused them alarm. There was never an intent to harm Maya Kowalski. There was never an intent in that week period. They were trying to do what they thought they could do to protect Maya. I know you disagree with it, but I'm really hoping in your hearts, you don't think they were trying to harm this child in that week. The reason why they wanted her to stay was because they thought they could help her and thought they could get her on the right course. I would ask that since your verdict in this is going to be, it's to punish and deter, is that the effect that you want of healthcare providers who have dedicated their lives to medicine to be muzzled, where they are afraid that a child could go to imminent harm or death? Do you want with your verdict what's coming next to be telling these healthcare providers at the hospital, don't say anything? Because
Objection, Your Honor. Crossover to 39.
I'm sorry?
Crossover to 39.
I sustain that.
Move to strike.
Members of the jury, you're going to disregard the comment about the reporting. The punitive damages are on battery and false imprisonment. It has nothing to do with any sort of dependency court issue.
my point, Your Honor, was not for the call, but for the week where the All Children's was telling the family, we want you to stay, for that week before.
You can make your argument to the jury.
Yes, and for these damages, where you have to find a specific intent to harm, ask yourselves in your heart, do you really believe that these providers who dedicated their lives to medicine were trying to harm Maya, or do you believe that they were in fear that something bad was going to happen to her? And I would ask you the same with the EEG room and the other categories, because you do have to find that they were literally, not just one of them, but an entire hospital of people who have dedicated their lives to caring for sick children would somehow turn on this child. I don't think you believe that in your heart. You do not have to award punitive damages. You know that this form gives you an out to say it's enough. I would remind you that you've awarded $238 million, almost $250 million to the Kowalski family. They are asking you, and $57 million for these categories when I added it up. They're asking you for more. You've heard from Sharon Rogers. It's all going to patient care in your community. It's not a joke, right? And if I'm a little bit cracking up in front of you, because I know every additional dollar that goes out the window, this isn't insurance. These are real dollars that the hospital is going to have to take from its strategic plan that they have to help children that can't breathe when they're born, that don't have access to cardiac surgery, don't have access to neonatal surgery, don't have access to cure cancer. I would just ask you in your hearts to think, is this really necessary at this point to continue to punish All Children's Hospital?
Remember Charlie Brown's teacher? Wah, 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 wah. That's what I hear when I hear him. Wah, wah, wah. I think he's almost done, right?
I would ask you to look at the amounts, and I would ask you to ask yourself whether that message is one that you want to continue to send to pediatric providers that have dedicated their lives to medicine, and with a hospital that has corrected errors, undisputed testimony, let them go forward with their mission to help the sick. Please, please.
Wow, that was some pleading at the end, huh?
I think
Please,
the American
please.
people understand is that this size companies always have an argument why they need more money. And I can't believe they're still going after what Beata Kowalski decided to do. They still just don't get it.
Okay, we have some breaking news because you guys are on it. You guys are on it with your awesome emails and we got some other stuff now to show. Hang on a second. Tampa Bay Times just put out an article. Let's read it together. They wanted to make me pay 99 cents, but somehow I got through the paywall. This was 56 minutes ago. Look at us with the breaking news. In Venice, Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital falsely imprisoned and battered a 10-year-old Venice girl and contributed to her mother's suicide, according to a jury that awarded damages of more than $261 million to her family. In a major legal defeat for the St. Petersburg Hospital, the jury on Thursday found that the hospital engaged in, quote, extreme and outrageous, end quote, conduct in its treatment of Maya Kowalski and her family after an October 2016 emergency room visit. The girl's mother, Beata Kowalski, took her own life after Maya was removed by the state and sheltered at All Children's for 3 months. The jury of 4 women and 2 men sided with the Kowalskis on every question they were asked to adjudicate. All Children's conduct contributed to Beata Kowalski's death, they said, and the hospital falsely imprisoned Maya when it blocked the family from leaving the hospital with their child. Damages were awarded for the hospital's decision to place the then 10-year-old girl in a room equipped with video surveillance for 48 hours and to strip her down to her shorts and training bra and photograph her without permission from her parents or a court. There was also an award for the conduct of a hospital social worker, Kathy Beatty, who conducted the photography of the girl and who sometimes kissed and hugged the girl and sat her on her lap. An award of $50 million in punitive damages for the counts of false imprisonment and battery were made after a second jury deliberation Thursday evening. Punitive damages are intended to punish harmful behavior and deter future similar conduct. Maya, now 17, said it had been tough to hear what she described as misrepresentations of her mother during the trial. She wanted a verdict that would clear her mother's name, she said. It was about the answer, knowing that my mom was right, she said. For the first time, I feel like I got justice. The verdict in a sometimes fractious 8-week civil trial in Sarasota County came on the third day of jury deliberation. As it was read to the court, the family, who had fought for 5 years to get the case in front of a jury, sobbed and held each other. Maya clung onto her mother's rosary beads. In addition to the financial blow to all children, the case has generated worldwide headlines after it was turned into a documentary called Take Care of Maya. Released on Netflix, it was viewed almost 14 million times in the first 2 weeks after its June release. Hospital attorneys said they will appeal the verdict based upon, quote, clear and prejudicial errors, end quote, and accused the Kowalski's attorneys of misleading the jury. Quote, the facts and the law remain on our side, and we will continue to defend the life-saving and compassionate care provided to Maya Kowalski by the physicians, nurses, and staff of Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, and the responsibility of all mandatory reporters in Florida to speak up if they suspect child abuse, said attorney Howard Hunta in a statement. In closing statements on Monday, Greg Anderson, lead counsel for the Kowalski family, characterized the hospital's defense of its actions as, quote, revisionist history, end quote, that attempted to blame the family for the hospital's mistreatment of Maya and her mother. All children's doctors, he said, wanted to punish a mother who dared to question their medical expertise. What was the purpose of all this other than arrogance and the belief they could get away with it, he said. Well, here's a nice picture of them after the verdict. Maya already had a diagnosis and had been treated for CRPS roughly a year before her family brought her to All Children's. But doctors there were skeptical of the diagnosis and instead called the estate abuse hotline to report Maya's mother, Beata Kowalski, for suspected medical child abuse. After a child protection investigation, a judge ordered that Maya be removed from her family and sheltered at the hospital. After 3 months with no physical contact with her daughter, Beata Kowalski took her own life. Judge Hunter Carroll had ruled before the trial that the hospital could not be blamed for the state's decision to shelter Maya at the hospital, nor for a decision by doctors to report Beata Kowalski to the abuse hotline. Attorneys for the Kowalskis centered their case on the hospital's failure to treat Maya for the pain syndrome, a rare neurological condition that can cause spontaneous and often excessive pain from something as mild as touch. Pradeep Chopra, a pain management and anesthesiology doctor from Rhode Island, who provided the dependency court with an evaluation of Maya's medical condition, testified that the girl had the rare pain syndrome, often nicknamed the suicide condition because the pain could be so debilitating. And it goes on to talk about the testimony. And I suggest that you read this in the Tampa Bay Times. Thank you for emailing this to me. Oh, here's a quote from Shapiro. Shapiro said Maya's medical records confirmed what other doctors had testified. Her medical history was one of, quote, unnecessary medication given at dangerous levels. Hospital doctors were right to report suspected child abuse and to question the treatment her parents were demanding when they arrived at the hospital, he said. Quote, the coward's way out is to let them leave, Shapiro said. People who care about children do not let that child walk out the door without talking to the family. And we were there. We saw it. We were there for it. Yeah. Okay, I have a lot to go to in these chats. Colleen, thank you for becoming a new member. Chantal Caesar, thank you for your super chat. I saw this earlier. You have to go back to the verdict form. Jury made a mistake in the zeros on the 1.4 million. I've been hopping between feeds, so I am behind. Thank you. I hope I answered your question on that. Lauren, thank you so much for your super sticker. Jen said earlier, let me know what you guys think about this. Do you really think this will make a difference in the future? I want to think so. I do. What do you guys think? Oh, Chantal, thank you again for the super chat. I did go back to the jury form. They did make a mistake. In love with the law. Hello. Thank you for your super chat. Happy to be here. I'm so happy to have you here. Uncivil law is total buzzkill regarding the money awarded. Nah, it's a big victory. I'm going to celebrate it. I am here for you and we're celebrating. Louisiana girl, thank you for your super chat. All about being petty when it's warranted. Yeah, I know, me too. Oh, Natasha, I love you too. Hi, Sylvie. I ordered a shirt yesterday. Will I get it? Yes, you will get it. And look, thank you for reminding me. I'm going to put the merch back up again. And I think it's 20% off today, you guys. They were running a special in my shop. And I think if you go on, you can get 20% off. So here's the Team Maya merch that I made. And all profits that I make from this stuff is going to CRPS research. So look at these cute shirts. You can get them in all these different colors. They have all these colors. And then there's the hat. And then this is like a two-tone hoodie and this cute little football shirt. And like, there's no time limit on when we can wear these, right? I mean, I think you can wear them forever. So yeah, if you want to buy a shirt, they're not, obscenely priced. I didn't jack up the pricing or anything because I want the proceeds to go to research. And I think, we're trying to make something good out of this. So yeah, you will absolutely get it. And it doesn't take so long either because I ordered some as samples. This is a new shop for me. So it doesn't take too long to get it. It's not like Amazon and Prime, like you're not getting it overnight because they print to order, but it doesn't take forever. I think mine took like a week maybe. Oh, Chantal, welcome to the membership. We're calling it Melanie's Little Cupcakes. And that's because my logo says over here, I am not a cupcake, because the pink sign that you can't read right here says you can't make everyone happy. You are not a cupcake. So I can't make everyone happy. I'm not a cupcake. If you don't like it here, you don't have to stay here. But if you do like it here, you get to be one of my little cupcakes because when we can make each other happy and we don't tolerate the bullies. That's weird. When I put that comment up earlier that somebody said that there were some haters in here, I did not see that. So did I miss something? My mods are amazing. So I'm sure that it was something that was very quick and it got Z'd very quick. So thank you. Thank you, Lauren, again for your super sticker. And Chantal says, yay, I'm a cupcake, but I'm an addictions counselor, so I'm really not a cupcake. Well, good. Did you see my show I did on Matthew Perry the other night, which got demonetized immediately because I had addiction and alcoholic in the show, but it was about loving an alcoholic and the difficulties of loving an alcoholic or an addict. And it was not promoting addiction or alcoholism. So it's ridiculous, YouTube. You really should change your rules, and maybe your human reviewers should really do a better job of like actually reviewing the content, because it's not promoting addictions. It's loving people who have them and how to handle that. It was with a therapist and me. We talked about Matthew Perry and how sad we were about his passing. So, and how he turned his life around. So, yeah. Petty. Yeah, right. Maybe I am petty. I should make another t-shirt. Hi, Lynn. Oh, yes. Thank you, Lynn. I'm going to, for emailing me the screenshot of my Instagram post. Let's take a look at that. And thank you for your super chat. Let me see. Let's pull this up for you guys. I haven't even looked at Instagram all day because I've been working on this all day. So let's see what we have here. Where is it? Oh, we are feeling so blessed. I will be forever grateful. Go follow Maya Kowalski 1, everyone. Go follow Maya on Instagram. If I knew how to reach her, I'd send her some shirts. That's awesome. Let's see if I can enlarge it. I love that. I love it. It's a great day. It is a great day. It's a great day for all you warriors and all of us who have been so emotionally attached to this case for 9 long weeks to finally see something happy happen. Hi, Christy. Thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate you. The judge said, take care. Oh, he did take care of Maya. I wonder if you watched the documentary before he was even assigned this case. Thank you, Don, for your super sticker. Super sticker, super sticker chat. All right, what say you, my friends? What say you, my cupcakes? I hope this continues to inspire you to keep fighting and standing up for yourself. Remember, you deserve it. Yes, you all deserve it. I see you. I hear you. I'm here for you too. Hi, Christy. I'm dating Nevada's former county commissioner, so I love the law, and you're perfect. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I hope he's a cupcake. I hope he's a keeper. Oh, Natasha, don't worry. I'm not asking for money. I'm not putting a little ticker up on my screen about how much money I want to collect during this stream and waiting for it to get up to a certain amount. I don't expect anyone to ever pay a dime for anything. Subscribing is free. Liking the video is free. Sharing the video is free. YouTube is free unless you pay for no ads. There's no expectation of anybody spending any money on this channel ever. Please don't feel that way. Somebody wrote something in the comments like, I wish I could subscribe to, but I don't have any money. I'm on a limited. No, I don't want you to spend any money. Everyone is struggling right now. Everyone is struggling right now financially. The economy sucks. And I don't usually curse on this channel, and that's not a curse really, but I like to keep it clean. I like to keep it classy. The economy is horrible. I had to fill my oil tank up today because it's starting to get cold in New York, and it would shock you how much it costs to heat your home right now, and how much to put gas in your car, and the electric, all of it. I'm a single mom. I know, I get it. It is rough out there. I am here for you for free. You do not ever, ever, ever have to feel obligated to spend any money on this channel. The shirts are out there. If people want them, get them. I'll donate the money. I'm here for free. This is a volunteer position. Please do not feel like in order to feel welcome here, you need to spend your money. You don't. All you need to do is show up, participate, make some friends, and hopefully we're going to make you feel a little bit better about your life and what's going on in the world today, because it's rough out there, you guys, and you guys do that for me. So I hope that I'm doing that for you. Yeah, it is rough. It is rough. Yes, heaven was watching her, and her mother was shining down on her for sure. 100%. 100%. Thank you, Lita. That's why we love this channel. Honestly, making sure everyone feels seen and heard and answer. I try to. And then sometimes I go back and I read the comments and somebody says something like, my name is only in gray, so I don't get my questions answered. I am on StreamYard, which is a whole different platform than YouTube. So when your comments come up on the corner here, I don't know who's a member, who's not. There's no colors. I don't even pay attention to that stuff. I appreciate you if you want to be a member, and we'll do some members only stuff, but I would never expect it from you. I saw somebody, I forget who it is. We don't have to name their creator. I don't even know who it is, but literally there's like a ticker. There's like a goal on the screen of how much money they want to collect during this. And I don't get that. I don't get it. It's not my style. You know me. If you've been here, you know me. If you haven't been here before, welcome. I'm Melanie Little. I come to you with 30 years experience as a New York State trial lawyer in New York State and federal courts. I semi-retired about 5 years ago and decided I wanted to be an actress. I also have 5 kids, and now I'm a legal commentator and apparently a YouTuber, because this is kind of like working out really well for me, and I enjoy it. I enjoy being here with you. This is not about you guys giving me money. It's just not. Oh, thank you. Janine, Recovery Addict, shouted you out. Yeah, he's great. He's great. I mean, he's found his niche. People love watching the stream with him. He's very kind. His stream is very kind. His chat is very kind. Somebody, they just said they thought it was a boys club over there. Could I please do a stream, because they wanted to hear from a girl? So I was like, okay, if Emily Baker and Natalie ever want to do something with me, I think that would be really cool. Natalie doesn't need to, Emily doesn't need to do anything with me. She's got like 1 million subscribers, but sometimes it's nice to hear the ladies' point of view too. There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women. It's a famous quote that somebody once said, and I'm going to repeat it now because I think it needs to be said. Is it weird to send a sweatshirt to my, I don't know that we'd ever be able to get it to her, to be honest. Although we could send it to her attorney's office. It's not a bad idea. Hmm. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Gina. You're amazing too. You are amazing. Exactly. That was good, Melanie. He should have said what you just said. And with an apology from the heart. Yeah. I think it would have had a much different effect than you're really going to bankrupt this hospital and send a chilling effect on mandatory reporters. Yes, Sarah, this is such a incredible and pivotal day. And I think that you are one of my chronic pain sufferers. And I know you and I hear you and I feel you. And I hope everybody's having a less of a pain-free day. I mean, less pain today anyway. This should do something. Thank you, Donna. You always do such a great job advocating for victims. It's all you guys too. So you guys are here. You're watching it, talking about it. Just joining. Victory for my hi, Susie Q. Hey, Courtney. There was a joint motion requesting the judge to watch Take Care of My documentary. So Judge Carroll definitely saw the documentary. Oh, interesting. Thank you, Courtney. The court filings, there's like 50,000 filings. I never got through them all because I don't only handle this case, you guys. I don't only cover this. I cover lots of other cases too. And there was some cool stuff that happened today on the Long Island serial killer case, which is where I live, and it's in my backyard. So I will, Scott, thank you for pointing that out to me. Netflix apparently is at their house. I know that Netflix is doing a documentary on them because when I was in court the day that Rex Heuermann stared me down in the face, it was really scary. Watch that video if you haven't seen that one. Netflix had made a motion because they wanted to bring the cameras in the courtroom because they said they were doing a documentary, and judge said, nope, sorry. So Netflix is at the Heuermann house. And I think it was also reported on News 12 that Asa had visited Rex in jail. And I think she probably did that for the documentary. I'm sure the cameras were following her there. Maybe the warden said, okay, you can bring Netflix, you can come into the jail, but judge said, no, you can't come in the courtroom. Rex who? Rex Heuermann. He's the alleged Long Island serial killer who is being held, and he has been indicted on 3 of the 4 Gilgo unalivings that happened here on Long Island where I live, and they've been going on since 1996. So I digress. That was just something that was breaking today too. So it's been, oh, hi, Letitia. Were you crying all afternoon? Okay, we're going to cry happy tears now. You're welcome, Kimmy. You're welcome. Callie girl, I got my hubby to watch it for the first time, and Abby, you got to watch it. Good. Well, thank you for emailing me today. I loved your email. And Ray, I got your email too. I haven't read it yet because I was live when I saw it come in, but I started to reading it, and then I started getting misty-eyed, and I was like, I gotta stop. I have to go back on. You're very welcome. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you to all of my channel members, to all of my moderators who keep the chat classy, to all of my replay viewers, and to everyone who comments and participates and is so kind. And look at Amber gifting 5 memberships. You're amazing. And Chantal gifting memberships. And you guys are just amazing and so supportive of me and each other. And I love you so. And I am getting on an airplane tomorrow to do some college visits with my twins. So I don't know if I'll be around for the weekend, but I always have my equipment with me because now that the actors strike is over, I always have a travel kit because the second I get on an airplane is when I get an audition. And guess who's going back to work first? The Dick Wolf shows. Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Organized Crime, my target shows. So hopefully, I mean, cross your fingers for me that I get an audition while I'm away this weekend because that's how it always happens. I'm sure there'll be some breaking news and I'll come on because I miss you guys so that I just can't not go live. I feel like I have withdrawal when I don't go live for a day. So am I correct? Dr. Lynn says, in understanding this opens the door for other litigations from others who have had similar experiences. It may. Yes, I don't know how many of them out there, but yes. And I suggest to you, that's a good thing. Because people want to be heard and people want to tell their stories and people want people to pay attention. You know how many lawyers Maya's family had to go to? Nobody wanted to take that case. Nobody wants to take that case. And yeah, it may not be sustained on appeal. And the money may not be sustainable, you know, but it's a win. It's a victory. It's in all the papers. They can settle the case at any time. You know, I don't know what they offered them before, but hopefully they'll, yes, 5 kids with twins. Wow. I hope they settle because they'll get to see the money sooner and we'll be tied up forever. And, you know, I think Maya's going to do some great things. I really do. I'm going to have Maya withdrawals too. I know. What are you guys going to do all day now when you're not watching Recovery Addict? Thank you, sweet one. How can they not give you an audition? You have 16,000 fans to watch. I've auditioned several times for all of them, for the SVU, for the regular one, for the, what's the other one? Organized Crime with Elliot Stabler, who I really think they should cast me as Elliot Stabler's new girlfriend. I'm putting it out there. Just putting it out there. But, you know, Kevin Costner had me at Tin Cup. Elliot Stabler had me when he was on SVU like 100 years ago when he and Mariska Hargitay were young. And, oh, love that show. I'm just kidding. I would like to be on the show, but I don't need to be his girlfriend. I could just play a lawyer on the show. It's fine. It was a joke. I know it's not a comedy, but it was a joke. All right. Yes, I have twins. I have 5 kids and twins and 2 that are going to be going to college next year. So it's a lot. It's a lot to do by yourself. So you single moms out there, you know what it's like. All right. Give me some comments. Hi, Sarah. I didn't see you in the chat. Hello, Sarah Adams. Just checking in to say what a day for chronic pain patients and CRPS warriors. Anyone not cry? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think everybody, I mean, when I went live, that's when the punitive damages award broke. And so I put it on live and I was not prepared for my own reaction to that. So, oh, good. I'm glad, Natasha. Other people doing better cheers me up. Yeah, Chicago PD. But the thing is, they shoot that in Chicago and they like to hire Chicago local actors there. And I live in New York. So all the other Law and Orders are filmed here. There's a ton of shows that are filmed in New York. And also a ton in LA. And I would move to LA in a second, but we'll see. All right. Thanks, you guys. Give me some ideas in the comments of what you want to cover next. I have a lot of other things on the plate, but if you have anything that you want to suggest, that's fine. Random question. Do we expect 21 tantrum? Do we expect the plaintiff's attorneys took this case on contingency? Yes, 100%. If so, any idea what a typical percentage would be for them? In New York, it's 1/3. In Florida, I heard Peter Trago say that it's 40%. But on a med mal in New York, it's a sliding scale. So I think for the first 250,000 in New York, so I don't know what it is in Florida. For a med mal, for negligence cases, it's a straight third in New York. Maybe it's 40% in Florida. Maybe if it goes to trial, it's 50%. I don't know. But med mal specifically only in New York is a sliding scale. So the bigger the number, the lower the fee for the attorney. So that's how that works. And then at the end of the case, the attorney gets all his expenses back also. And then they split the money. So that's how that works. Yeah, they were not paid by the hour. They paid for everything, the experts, the pages, everything. Yeah, it's sliding. It's sliding, but I don't know if the negligence is sliding too, or if everything is sliding. I don't know. In New York, it's sliding only for the med mal. Straight 1/3 on negligence here. But also she's under 18, so. And then I don't know if some of this stuff has to be present day valued. It's a whole thing. It's a whole calculation. I'm not an appellate attorney, so I don't know that part of it, but I do know that it's definitely contingency. And whether they have sliding scales on everything in Florida or only med mal, that I can't tell you. I can only tell you what I know. And I don't want to tell you what I don't know, but I'll tell you to find out from somebody else who knows. All right, you guys, I'm tired. I know you're exhausted too. So let's peace out and just remember, be kind, be cool, and be classy. It's not that hard. Love you guys. Peace.